Hi, this is Teresa, and welcome to Sundays with M&Ms. Today's topic, I want to talk to you about selling your home as is. And I want to talk to you about the pros and the cons. So if you're thinking of selling your home and you're not quite sure, you have a home and you know that it needs some repairs. So maybe you're not able to make the repairs. You don't have the money to make the repairs. You're not in the physical condition to make the repairs, but you want to sell your home. So we're going to talk about the pros and cons of selling a home as is. So let's start with, what are the pros? The question is, I know you've thought about it if you're planning to sell a home. Sometimes when you're selling a house that has some issues, selling as is may seem like the easiest thing to do. Most homeowners assume that selling a home as is means that they won't have to make any repairs to the property, which is kind of true, and that selling as is will be practicable and involve the least amount of stress, which may not be true. So before you make that decision to sell your home as is, you should be aware of what selling as is, what's involved. There are significant downsides to selling as is, and once you understand your options, you will be able to make the best decision, and you're better informed, and you may find out that there are better ways to sell your home. So let's talk about what does selling as is means. To sell a home as is means you're selling the home in its present condition, with an understanding that no repairs are going to be made and that the home will come with all of its current faults and issues. Okay? As is has a legal definition. The buyer will probably have to sign paperwork that indicates they understand that they're buying the home as is in the transaction. When you're buying a home as is, typically it's spelled out in the purchase and in the sales agreement. It's also spelled out in our multiple listings. So when the other realtors come to show the property, they have already told you. So this is a house that's being sold as is. The seller is not going to give any credit for repairs. They're not going to give you any money to do termite work. They're not going to do anything. So now let me tell you what selling as is doesn't mean. And unfortunately, homeowners are under the mistaken impression that selling a home as is relieves them from all the general obligations that come with selling the home. They imagine they can just unload the property for whatever price they can get while avoiding the need to talk about and disclose any issues from the home. That's not true. Selling a house does not relieve you from your legal obligations to tell the buyer what you know about the house. And you have to be honest. If your house has just suffered a major rain and the roof is damaged, you have to disclose that information. If you're having electrical problems, you have to disclose that information. And depending on what state you're in, there may be some other laws, other rules. I'm here in California, so I know California real estate. If you're watching this on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, wherever you may be, check with the realtors in your state to find out what those rules are. And we as realtors, we have an obligation to disclose any fact that can influence the buyer not to enter into a real estate transaction. So here's some other examples of some issues that a real estate agent or broker may disclose to a home buyer. So there's evidence of a structural defect, like a major crack. Here in California, we live in earthquake land, so there could have been a major earthquake which cracked the foundation. There could be mold. There could be termite damage. The roof has leaked. Radon levels, a major plumbing or an electrical issue, a significant external issue such as an obnoxious noise. Now, if you live near an airport, chances are when you're going to see the house, you're going to see the airport. So you know the airport and the overhead from the planes are going by, right? A known legal issue such as a cloud on the title, which means the title wasn't transferred correctly as it was sold from the previous seller to the current owner. or that the property is a short sale. They're in foreclosure. The house is going to be sold in 30 days. So they have to quickly sell to stop the bank from taking over that house. There are many things, many things that can happen. So now you may say, now that I know all of that, you still may be thinking to yourself, what on earth could be an issue from the buyer's perspective on purchasing the home as is? I've told them everything. I've done all that I can. They know I'm not fixing it. They came over, they saw it, and they still wrote the offer. So now, this is what could happen. The buyer will perceive your home negatively. They will automatically assume there's something wrong with it, just because you put those two little words, as is. And there may not be anything wrong with it. I feel personally, if I was going to sell my house, I could sell it as is because there is nothing wrong with it. I've lived here. I've done my maintenance. I've maintained the home, the roof's in condition, the plumbing and all of those things. I would just want to sell as is so that I can just, like I said in the beginning, be relieved from hiring the contractors and doing all of those things. Now, another reason is the buyers may say, I'm going to give you a low offer because I need to make all of these repairs. I have to do this and I have to do that, and all of those things may happen. So you have to be prepared for that. When you're working with me as your realtor, we sit down and we go over these things way ahead of time before we put the home on the market. The third thing is that you're going to have to work really hard to demonstrate why your home is worth the price that you are asking. Again, that's where I come in. I sit down with you, I go over the comps, and I show you. This house is on the market for this price, and it's immaculate. This house is on the market for this price, and it's in need of repairs. This home is on the market for this price, and it has minimum repairs. So where do we want to be on that spectrum? We want to be somewhere in the middle. Number 4, you will attract fewer buyers. Again, because they think there's something wrong with the house. So you have to be prepared to that. Because your listing says up front as is, you're going to drive away a lot of potential buyers. Even if you're in a position of when you put minimum effort or money into the home to make it into a sale, you could still benefit from avoiding these as is designations in the listing. Let the buyers come, let them make an offer, see how you feel, and then go from there. And if they're going to make requests for repairs, you guys have a conversation about it. That's what negotiation of a contract is. So now that I've told you all of that, let me tell you a few reasons to sell as is. Most homeowners should avoid starting off with a sale as is. However, there are certain times, certain situations when selling as is very desirable. And in these cases, you need to know how to sell a home as is. Here's some reasons. You really can't afford to make any repairs. I had a client, we were selling his home, and he honestly could not afford to make any repairs, nor could he afford to do any repairs. And we had to sell it as is. You may be in a financial situation where repairs of any type is just not feasible. If the property has defects and you have no way to repair them, you may have no other choice but to sell it as is. However, try to keep an open mind, talk to me as your realtor, and make a hard decision on selling as is. I may be able to come up with some creative solutions that will allow you to avoid selling as is, at least avoid putting it in our listing right from the beginning. A lot of times we want to have a conversation with the person. Allow the buyer to come look at the home. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it. Number 2, you really can't handle the stress of a home sale. Sometimes selling a home can be very stressful, and everybody's stress level is different. My stress level where I'm over the top could be way up here. Someone else's stress level could be down here. So again, you just never know. You find themselves in situations where they have to sell, but they're truly unable to deal with the stress, the drawn out the process that it entails. And if you're seriously or otherwise incapacitated and you don't believe you're capable of dealing with the selling process, you may decide that selling as is makes the most sense. Again, just make sure to explore all of your options before making a final decision on selling as is. If you can get help from friends, from family, or if I, as your realtor, if I can take care of that stressful aspects for you, you can probably get a better price. And a lot of times, just putting a little paint, just removing what we call decluttering the home will make a big difference. Financial distress. Sometimes, this is the third option or possibility or scenario. Sometimes the owner will find themselves in serious financial distress and they need to sell the home immediately in its as-present condition. One viable option in this scenario is contacting an investment company. Yeah, I know you've heard them all, buy your home for cash, or, we buy houses that don't look so great, whatever the situation is. When you tell me, Teresa, I want to sell my house as is, I can't afford to do anything, I will look into that for you. I will reach out to some of my investors and who'll come over, they'll take a look at the property and they'll make an offer based on the numbers. With investors, it's all about the numbers and what makes sense to them. So remember that. Let's say, for example, the house is listed at, let's say, $450 or $550. The investor comes and he looks at the house and he does his numbers and he makes an offer at $450. Now, I've already done the comps and I know that $450, that's fair. So we do the offer is accepted, we open escrow. Then, even though you're selling the house as is, the buyer still has the right to do a buyer's home inspection. So guess what? They do the buyer's home inspection, and the inspection comes back with more repairs than our naked eye can see. Because remember, when we see the house as realtors, buyers, we see only what we see with our eyes. The inspector will go under the house, he'll go on top of the house, he'll check the plumbing, he'll check everywhere. So let's say it comes back a little bit more. Then we come together and we negotiate. They may negotiate to drop the price. And in one scenario, I did that. I had a home that was an investment property, and when the report came back, it did need a lot of work, and we negotiated the price. We dropped the price another $25,000. Which was fair. Everybody was happy. The seller still got a great offer, and we ended up closing the deal, and everybody was happy. Now, let's talk about accepting the offer, the subsequent home inspection. Just like I said, we will have conversations about it. We may compromise if we need to. And let me tell you one other thing. Depending on the type of loan the buyer receives will determine whether the home is truly sold as is. If this is a veteran buying a home, there are going to be certain appraisal repairs that have to be met. And we will know that based on the appraisal. The appraiser will give a list of lender appraisal conditions. We have to figure out a way how to accept and make those repairs. Option number 2 is if we can't. I know that you've seen homes or houses for sale, and it'll tell you in the description, this home will not qualify for FHA or VA financing. The reason why it says that is because the homes need so much repairs that the VA approval or the FHA approval appraiser will not qualify that home, and you cannot have that type of loan. So it has to be an all cash offer or a conventional offer. The main thing that we want to do is we want to price the property correctly. If we're selling it as is in a neighborhood where homes are selling between, let's say, $400,000 to $600,000, We want to be right in that middle. We don't want to say we're going to sell a home as is and then list it at $750,000. No one will come look at our house. I want you to remember that. No one will come and look. So we want to be priced appropriately. Pricing a home is a skill and it's an art. And unfortunately, sometimes there are people that don't always get it right. There are sometimes that sellers will say, my home is valued at this because I did that. I think I should get this because of that. As a broker, it is my job to share with you what's on the market, show you what has sold, and just give you the overall big picture. Because at the end of the day, you want to sell your house for the best price and highest price that you can get so that you can go where you need to go. The most important thing is talk to me. Let's have a conversation. Whatever your situation is, I'm here to help you. I am confident, I am positive that I can help you sell your house in the best possible solution with the best possible options that will work for everyone. I hope you found this tip, Sundays with M&Ms, to be helpful. I would love if you're looking on Facebook that you would share this live video with your friends or your family where someone you know that's looking to buy or sell. I would love if you're looking at it on Instagram that you would just hit the share button and share on your story and share on your own feed so that your friends and your family can have this information. If you happen to be watching it later on YouTube, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. Every Sunday, we're going to have various topics on Sundays with M&Ms. So if you've enjoyed this information, please share. Thank you for taking the time to have this conversation and spend time with me. I've really enjoyed talking to you. So I want to leave you with one tip, and that is, when you're ready to buy or sell, consult a realtor. My number is 310-713-8459. My name is Teresa Miller. I'm with the M Team Realty, and you may find me on my website at www.themmteamrealty.net. So you have a great day, and I will see you next Sunday.